New York is not alone in this discussion about how schools move forward after COVID-19. Schools across the country are having the same conversation, and obviously it's different everywhere else other than New York. With me now is Rachel Silberstein from the Times-Union. She recently spoke to Andreas Schleicher from the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Rachel, thank you so much for joining me here on New York Now this week.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime. So Rachel, tell me about Andreas, your conversation with him, and what you were really curious to find out when you were talking to him. I imagine you cover education for the Times-Union, so I imagine you were more educated on this issue, no pun intended, than other people would be.
I think he was really interesting. He shed some light on, which countries had their schools more prepared for a global health crisis like this. In terms of being able to, on the fly, have their teachers develop an entire curriculum and figure out how to deliver it remotely to students, regardless of where they're situated, whether they are economically disadvantaged or have special learning needs, or struggle with the English language, they're immigrants. And so he had some really valuable insight in terms of, how prepared the U.S. was, and also what schools can do better to prepare for this in the future, as well as what schools might look like in the fall when students return to class.
Right, you asked him about that, and I think that was a really interesting response from him. Let's just listen to that clip really quick.
So hindsight is 2020. Now we're looking forward. We all know about the summer slide. The COVID-19 slide is arguably a lot steeper. Will students ever catch up? What would you recommend to school systems moving forward in terms of getting this generation of students that is going to be shaped by this, incredible global epidemic? How will schools get them up to speed?
Well, when students and teachers will go back to school, they will see a different world. Teachers will see a much more diverse kind of student population. Some students will require a lot more assistance and help to find their way back to schooling, regain trust in education, regain trust in their teachers. I think that's the reality. At the same time, I also hope that you will see lots of students who say, well, actually, I found online learning really interesting. I discovered new ways of learning. Why can't we make learning in the school more adaptive, more interactive, more technology-based?
Really interesting thoughts from Andreas Schleicher. Rachel, tell me where people can watch the full interview if they want.
So we streamed it live to the Times-Union Facebook page, our Twitter account, and our YouTube account. And you can actually see me every Thursday. That's when I do a weekly Facebook Live. We talk about education in light of this crisis. So tune in.
Very cool. Rachel Silberstein from the Albany Times-Union, thanks for being on New York Now this week to talk about this. It's really interesting stuff.
Of course, anytime.